So this will be a bit more of an in-depth look into budgeting or banking your calories. I spoke about flexible dieting before. Promotes flexibility in foods. Eat however you want, ideally mostly whole foods. As long as you're in a calorie surplus or a deficit, that is all that matters, depending on your goal. The last video as well, we spoke about how to flexibly eat. That was more on promoting the flexibility around when you eat, rather than being under pressure to eat certain times of your day. Spoiler alert as well. If you're interested in getting coached by me, click on one of the links below, fill in the details, and I'll get back in touch with you. Eat whenever you want, as long as it's in line with your goals. Now we're going to talk about how you can budget your calories for the week ahead and provide even more flexibility. Think of this like a 3-part series. A bit like Lord of the Rings. Was that 3 or 4? Anyway, this will likely have similarities to the last video, but I'll hopefully still somewhat be helpful. I'm trying to give you some information on how you can set up your day or your week in terms of calories and things to consider as well. It's a bit crazy I need to make a video on this to try and help people set up their day, but it's kind of got to that point now, hasn't it? You know, with idiots online eating chicken raw, thinking it's medium rare, and people who eat butter like it's a bit of cheese. So I think it's actually warranted these kind of videos. Because nutrition has got so far-fetched, it's actually very simple to implement. People just make it fucking confusing. On a more slightly serious note, with all the conflicting information out there, I don't think health now is something that just takes care of itself. It needs to actually be consciously addressed. I don't think nowadays we can just put it on the back burner. It needs to be something that consciously needs to be looked at. Certainly in some parts of the world anyway, kind of like America. You know, when you go to America and there's water slides that have like body weight scales at the start of it, then there's a fucking problem. Also, if you get in, I've seen this, but if you get in a log flume and you get stuck in there and somebody pulls out a giant shoehorn, then yeah, your country has a problem with obesity. So I'm trying to do my bit. Many people think it's a case of just mundanely eating the foods that they plan out and that's it. And many people can and get results with that, but there are ways for you to take advantage of certain situations of your day and things to consider, as we've talked about before. And obviously I'm not trying to tell you how to eat, it's just things that may help you when you're choosing to. And also including the things that I'm going to talk about that might make your diet a bit more enjoyable, rather than it being boring as fuck is what a lot of people perceive diets to be. So, how to set up budgeting. First off, instead of planning as you go, plan for your week ahead and how you like your calories and meals set up. So if you're on a Sunday, think of your next Sunday and work back from that. As you get more experienced, you know, you might not have to do that. At least at the beginning, start planning ahead. So that way you can address any sort of nights out, celebrations, plans that you have. And if you plan for things like going to the gym and exercising, then you fit your foods around that. It can then potentially keep you motivated. Writing things down, you hold yourself accountable to these things when you schedule it. Or you should anyway. Oh, what do we have here? So using my blocks that my daughter sometimes plays with, I'm going to show you how you could potentially start budgeting. Hopefully you can see the labels. James Smith made a great video on this on how to set up your calories, and I'm not going to butcher it, but it'll be something similar. Not as good as his. In fact, it'll be fucking better than his. So here we have someone who eats 2,000 calories a day. So the small blocks on the top, 250 calories, the medium one in the middle, 500 calories, and the big one at the bottom, 1,000 calories. Simple as that. People likely fail on their weekends, and this particular person is the same. He's going out with the weekend and he's got to get mad with it. So we take his 2,000 calories, and then what we do is so what we've done here, 5,000 calories in that day, and then the other days is around about 1,500 calories. What tends to happen is people then start to realise, I don't want to eat this shit amount of calories to then make way for my weekend. I'll take more from my weekend next week and then start creating balance. It could look something similar to this. And then as well, what happens is as they start to make smarter choices when they go out, they might start saying something like, I like feeling like I've got more energy, I like going to the gym, I like eating better, I like being in a better mood, I like sleeping better, I'm just got to sack off the weekend and I'm going to go to the gym instead. And then what happens is they can still leave calories at their weekend to enjoy a more decadent meal, but ultimately the calories start to balance themselves out. And then on top of that, with confidence and experience, you could even start making adjustments like fuck beer at the weekend. It's quite caloric. I'm going to start on the vodka and Diet Cokes and have a real fucking good night. Instead of the caloric beef burger, I can have the calorie-friendly chicken breast burger and save even more calories. They could skip the dessert, for example. And leaving calories for your weekend could also happen if you're very busy at work. You're busy in front of the laptop for like 8 to 12 hours, you've got some sort of project to finish, you're just purely surviving on caffeine. You can have an enjoyable meal catching up on calories that you've potentially missed out on if you choose to do that. And you can do other shit as well. If you've got like a big fuck off sporting event, like a hill climb or some sort of shit like that, you can leave your calories for the end of the week to provide you energy for that. This sort of thing again works for big occasions, for Christmases, for birthdays, Thanksgivings, fucking gender reveal parties, pancake day. There's a party for everything these days. Or if you're a midweek drinker, you're at uni, you could move that Saturday to a Wednesday, for example. There's actually unlimited amounts of flexibility you can have in your calories, despite what some people might say. This works the same if you have a kid. You've got to take them out the weekend, plan to go out on the Saturday, and you're going out for dinner. Work back from that. So on the flip side to this, you might eat a little bit more on a certain day that you never expected. You were out travelling and then you went out for dinner with your work colleagues. If you're happy to do this, you can swap calories the day before, the day after, and just sort of manage that. Basically move around calories to suit. Flexible and budgeting. Last example here, I promise. High-low days. On alternative days that you'll have higher calories and lower calories, there's absolutely no benefit to it. You might be a person that doesn't like to have the exact same foods every day on the exact same calories, so you budget for a higher calorie day and a lower calorie day just to swap it up. Again, then you plan your meals around these higher calorie days and the lower calorie days. If you plan meals to look forward to, you're likely to stick to it. So with a high day, you might have a few slices of pizza, but on the low day you might just have one or two, because now you're absolutely class at budgeting. Again, on the high day you could have chips, and then the lower day you could have normal potatoes. And then on this high day you can have a normal burger, but then the next again day you just have chicken. Plain, dry ass chicken in your budgeting. Swap calorie amounts as you see fit. These calorie numbers I've written here is just for simplicity. So what you're really doing here is just budgeting your calories for your week ahead, just like you would with your money. If you want to go out and spend a fuckload of money at the weekend, sacrifices will likely have to be made at some point. It's fine if you don't know, but I'm sure you love being in debt. It's funny as well how people only react to situations rather than being proactive. Instead of people saying something like, I'd rather avoid debt by any means possible by spending wisely and manage spending a little bit better, what eventually happens is go, oh, for fuck's sake, I'm in debt. And then they start cutting their spending severely, where like they're eating rice and OXO cubes for a week, and you could have avoided that situation. And it's exactly the same as eating. People don't say, God, I better make a better decision that avoids me being overweight, and instead they wake up and go, oh, I'm fat as fuck, I better do something about it, rather than actually proactively avoiding that situation. It's very reactive instead of being proactive. They could have owned and managed their decisions much earlier, you know. Instead, they don't do either. But anyway, back to budget. So what this does is starts making you a bit more accountable for your decisions, which many people are afraid of, because a large part of the situation that they're in is because of the decisions that they make without accepting it. And it's nobody else's fault. You can have like a 400 calorie pastry for your breakfast if you want, but you likely need to pay for it later on by adjusting your calories to suit. It's not recommended to have that for your breakfast. There's better things out there. But people don't do that and wonder why they've got 17 chins. So here are some things to consider when you're setting up your budget. Kind of like the points that I made in the last video that you hopefully have watched. Consider banking calories for occasions. If you start doing this, you'll start enjoying these occasions more rather than resent them and be worried about them. If you're not hungry, you don't have to eat. It could help you get to your goal quicker if you manage it properly. Hunger is only a feeling. Consider things like when you are hungry, most likely at night. Back to playing with the blocks. So what your day could look like: in the morning, you could have a small breakfast, 250 calories. You could have a lunch, which is 500 calories. You could have a snack for 250 calories in the middle of your day to get you to dinner. And then you could have a 1,000 calorie dinner. 2,000 calories. Once you start creating low calorie foods, 2,000 calories is a lot of fucking food to lose weight. Mornings are quite common for people not to be hungry because they're very busy. You know, they're on the move, they're having to chuck their kids out somewhere. So having a small breakfast might suit some people. Same with the lunches, people might have like a very stressful day and they're in front of their laptop all day, so a 500 calorie lunch might not suit them, so they might move that to the end of the day and have a smaller one just because they've not got the time. If you're a person trying to lose weight, you could take advantage of these situations. What this ultimately means is you could have a more decadent dinner at night and enjoy it with the family. You know, a lot of people save their calories for at night, towards the end of the day. They maybe see it as a reward. So to have that, they have a smaller breakfast or lunch to accommodate this. You might not want it there, so you put it towards the end of your day, after dinner in front of the TV. Or are you going out at the weekend? Because if so, you could save it for the weekend. Or what you could do is you could get rid of it. What that would then do if you're trying to lose weight is you could potentially get to your goal quicker. I'm actually going to have to hide these blocks because I've been revolutionary in trying to explain this sort of shit. Quick recap: how to easily set up your calories for the week. So you find your calories, you can find that online. I'm going to make a video soon on that. But multiply it by 7 because there's 7 days in a week. Predict how much you'll likely have at the weekend, or plan ahead, because that's most likely when people fuck up. And then you plan your week in reverse. And if you've got no plans, you should have a pretty easy week. Then adjust to suit if anything comes up that you didn't expect. Take a bit of ownership in your life, you know. What you also need to remember as well is all you're doing is predicting. You know, things might still change, but it's better having a prediction than not having one at all. If you were to watch my last 2 videos on this and this one, you're absolutely set to carry out a diet that includes variety and flexibility something that most other diets don't include. Now you realise you can pick any diet that you want to follow, providing that you can adhere to it. You can be flexible with your choices in food, you can be flexible with the time that you eat them. You then make a diet that is for you and only you, rather than following someone else's way of eating. And what you have done is you've then fit the diet around your life, rather than fitting your life around the diet. And to address tracking, I talk a lot about tracking on here. I've been tiptoeing around whether to advise people to track or not, but now I'm kind of past that, trying to please everyone. If you're wanting results quicker, you'll have to track in some sort of manner. It doesn't have to be in depth, but the more in depth you are, the quicker you'll get to whatever goal you've created. And people say as well, like, tracking's really unhealthy, yet they spend an infinite amount of time scrolling through their phone, looking at cats, and then going out the weekend and snorting God knows what, watching absolute shite on the TV, and then they can't sleep. But tracking's fucking so unhealthy for you. These are the same people that have been spinning their wheels for years and years, trying to lose weight and never got anywhere with it. People spend literal years trying to lose weight and they never do it. But then tracking's bad for you. Fucking idiots. Wasting my time. See you in the next video.